Hello everyone, welcome to free crash course for competitive exams held by VIRAT Hindustan Sangham in association with Manifest IAS Bengaluru. This program is inspired by Dr. Subramanian SWAMY and is convened by Ravishankar sir, State Education Convener for VHS Karnataka branch. So I am the chief mentor of your program, DHANUSH Kumar. I have been mentoring competitive service aspirants for past 5 years. We are done with geography, economy, history and polity and negotiating the environmental aspect. Then we will move to current affairs, mental ability and science, right? So we'll try to finish as much as possible in next 30 to 40 days. Okay, so yesterday, so you can watch this program online on the YouTube channel of VIRAT Hindustan Sangham. That is where it is being telecasted every day. The videos are being uploaded. And for further any queries, guidance, mentoring, doubt clearing, you can join our Telegram channel, VHS Education Forum. This is our Telegram channel. Please do join here in order to stay connected with our education forum, right? So we were discussing about, in yesterday's class, discussing about the environmental pollution. So we have so many types of pollution primarily. So the situation has become like that we are inhaling poison via water, via food, via air, right, temperature, everything. So the environment is becoming more and more toxic, right? So in order to avoid that, we need to know the environment. In order to defeat the enemy, we need to know the enemy, right? So air pollution we were talking about yesterday, and we discussed with the pollutants, volatile organic compounds and various other things. So today we will talk about one of the most important pollutant, that is fly ash. So fly ash. So what does it mean, fly ash? Fly ash is one thing, it is a ash. Ash which comes out of burning of a solid material, right? So budi. So fly, why it is called fly ash? It flies. It is in the air. That is why it is called fly ash. Opposite to that, you have one more type of ash called as bottom ash. So what is bottom ash? It doesn't fly. It gets settled. Whenever you burn something, it gets settled in the at the bottom, right? Bottom of the chula or something. So that is bottom ash, fly ash and bottom ash, right? So why with this we have to study about fly ash? And see, 73% of India's electricity is based on thermal production. Thermal means what? Via what? Via coal, right? So India has one of the largest resources of coal, and but India's coal is inferior coal, right? Which is the best form of coal? Anthracite. Anthracite is the best form of coal. So whatever the India has, it is a inferior form of coal. It produces lot of ash. So which is the best form of coal, which produces very less ash and less pollution, which has higher output. Higher output. Swalpa coal burn madre, it gives lot of heat. That is the best form of coal. Whereas the coal in India, it is inferior form. It doesn't give much of heat, right? So that is all about the, so 73% we are dependent on the thermal production. That is why this fly ash is a very important pollutant. So what is the composition of fly ash, Andre? It is composed of aluminium silicate, silicon dioxide and calcium oxide. Basically these are all what? Oxides. It consists of silica and oxides. Where do you find silica? It is in the soil. So soil, major content of the soil is silicon, right? So silicon is used in your semiconductor manufacturing, all those things. So it mixes with aluminium and it mixes with oxygen and becomes a pollutant, right? So it is a pollutant. So how do you collect the fly ash? Next, so this fly ash, so it is being emitted. So how do we collect it so that we can utilize it? This can also be utilized. So there is one kind of technology called electrostatic precipitator. Electrostatic precipitator, see, after burning of the coal or any material by which the fly ash comes out, so there will be precipitator, there will be electrostatic precipitator, two charges will be there. So let's say this is a chimney via which the pollution is coming out, right? This is a industry, right? So the fly ash is coming out, here there will be electrostatic precipitators. So these will be having charges, positive, negative charge. So this will be ionized, either positive or negative, because of which it acts like a magnet. So it attracts the fly ash and it precipitates. This attracts these two nodes attracts the fly ash and it precipitates and it gets collected, right, in the coal-fired power plant. So that is how it is collected. So if we don't collect it, what happens? What are the environmental effects? One is it pollutes the water and air. Then if we inhale it, what happens? It will cause respiratory problems, all kinds of diseases, right? Then, so if it gets deposited on the vegetation, plants, so the leaves will get spoiled, leaves will die, right? So these are the effects, environmental effects. So how do we utilize the fly ash? Can we use it for a better purpose? Yes. So see, cement idiyala, this cement can be replaced by fly ash. Up to 35% of the cement what we use in construction, that can be replaced. 35% of the cement can be replaced by the fly ash, right? That is one thing. Then see, bricks, ittigegalu, instead of normal laterite, from which soil do we make the bricks? Laterite soil. Instead of laterite bricks, we can do fly ash bricks, right? That is one thing. Then you can use it in construction of roads. Roads martala, instead of that tar, in the tar you can mix the fly ash and make use of this fly ash. Then you have a wasteland. Andre, see, some land would have got spoiled because of excessive irrigation or excessive use of fertilizers. Alli this fly ash will be containing lot of nutrients, right? Carbon alva. So lot of nutrients will be there, various types of minerals will be there. In that land you throw the fly ash, that land will become fertile again. That can also be utilized, right? So with respect to utilization of fly ash, there is a policy by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This ministry has given a policy. What is that policy? See, where do we have thermal power station in India? In Karnataka, Raichur thermal power plant, right? Apart from that, do you know anything? Hospet, is it iron or thermal? Thermal is, yeah, okay, fine. So within the 100 kilometers of the thermal power plant, whatever the fly ash that is produced in the thermal power plant, within 100 kilometers, whatever the roads that are being constructed, whatever the buildings that are government buildings, there it has been made mandatory that you have to use the fly ash. Government will, on its own, government will go and give the fly ash to the construction, right? So it will arrange the transportation and everything. And these people, what they should do? They should use the fly ash for better purposes, right? So that is the policy measure, that is 100 kilometers distance, right? So this is all about the fly ash. Then we will look at the effects of air pollution. What are the effects? So yesterday I wanted to show you the better diagram of coral. I couldn't find it on Google. So I found it in one of the books. See, this is a coral. So this is a coral polyp. Upon the coral polyp, you have zooxanthellae. That is the algae. Once the polyp dies or the zooxanthellae remove, it becomes just a skeleton like this, right? So this is a dead coral. Once it is removed, later on it becomes a dead coral. This is a coral. So now we will look into the environmental effects or the effects of air pollution. Various effects, health effects. So sulfur oxide, where does it come from? It comes from thermal power plants, right? So these are the health effects. So it causes everything from eye to respiratory problems. And nitrous oxide, same, thermal power plant and vehicle exhaust. So this also causes respiratory problems, bronchitis and all those things. You need not know what is the exact disease which is caused by the pollutant. You should know that which organs are affected majorly, right? Then suspended particulate matter and the dust. Suspended particulate matter elinda barade from the vehicular emissions. It also causes lung irritation and all those things. Then carbon monoxide, it comes from your vehicular emissions, right? So illi headache, irritation to mucous membrane. And see, carbon monoxide, the best thing you should know is it reduces the oxygen supply, in the blood. Hemoglobin binds with the carbon monoxide and it reduces the intake of oxygen, right? Very important. Then carbon dioxide, you know, fossil fuels it also causes the problem. Then you have smog. Smog, it is a smoke and fog, that is also from industries, that also causes respiratory problems. Ozone, see, ozone is emitted by, see, natural ozone is different, artificial ozone is different. Artificial ozone is emitted from your automobiles, from your cars and bikes, right? That also causes respiratory problems, bronchitis and all those things. Chlorofluorocarbons, as you said, refrigerators and air conditioners, they are going to deplete the ozone layer. Then you have hydrocarbons coming from the fossil fuels. They are carcinogenic. Carcinogenic, andre, what do you mean by carcinogenic? Carcinogenic pollutant andre eno? What do you mean by that? Very important. It will be asked. See, carcinogenic pollutant is that pollutant which causes cancer. Whenever you find the term carcinogenic, please understand it is a pollutant which causes you, which gives you cancer, right? Very important. Then tobacco smoke, elinda barute, you all know, that also causes lot of problem. Mercury from industry, mercury, see, mercury, one special disease, Minamata disease. Mercury causes Minamata disease. Where was this disease found? Japan, because of the excess release of mercury from the industry. Then lead is found in petroleum. It causes, see, lead anta bandre, please understand, it causes damage to your kidneys and as well as your brain and central nervous system. Then cadmium anta bandre, it causes one disease called blue baby syndrome, right? Cadmium. So that is one thing. Actually, this nitrogen element causes, cadmium causes, I think, Itai disease. Cadmium causes Itai disease. This will be asked, what is Itai disease? What is anta kelala? Cadmium causes what anta keltare, or Itai disease is caused by what? Cadmium causes that. Silica dust causes silicosis. Silicosis andre lungs will become like on sponge. Lungs will get destroyed. Silicosis, right? So silica dust, cotton dust. Cotton dust also causes bronchitis and see, majority it is respiratory diseases. All of these air pollution. Then asbestos dust also causes respiratory problems. Radioactive pollutants. What do you mean by radioactive pollutants? Those which comes from the radioactive elements, right? What are the radioactive elements? Uranium, plutonium, thorium. So they come from these MRI machines, all these machines, and nuclear power plants, all those places. So cosmic rays, X-rays, beta rays, all these are the radioactive pollutants. So they are very dangerous. It causes tissue damage to the tissues and cells, permanent damage. Then coal dust from the coal mines. So this is very important. Black lung disease or black lung cancer. It is caused because of the coal. Simple. Coal will be black. It goes to the lungs will become black. As simple as that. They'll show you in the TV, no? The sponge they will squeeze and there will be a tar because of smoking. Right? Smoking is injurious to health. Okay. Then what is the effect of the pollutants on the vegetation? On the gida margal mele ಏನು effect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? Because of air pollutants. One is it reduces the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis will be hampered, right? That is one thing. Then it causes damage to the tissues. It reduces the yield, right? It reduces the yield. Also, it might lead to death of the plant or foliage or ಎಲೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಉದುರೋಗ್ತವೆ. Foliage will reduce. These are the effect on the plants. It also causes effect on animals. So these are various effects of the air pollution. So how do we control it? One is policy measure, second is preventive measure. Policy andre by government policies, right? We have Air Pollution Control Act, Air Act. When was this passed? 1982, Air Act. We will discuss that. So you just remember, Water Act was passed in 1972. Water Cess Act was passed in 1974. Air Act was passed in 1982. These years are very important. These are very basic environmental acts, right? So what are the control measures? One is policy measures, then are the preventive measures. Preventive measures, what can we do? One is use a good fuel, Bharat 6. So what is the benefit of Bharat 6 fuel, BS6? So it reduces nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide emission from the, I think 80% of sulfur dioxide is reduced. Nitrogen, it is reduced in both in petrol and diesel. So BS6 is there. So did we go for BS5? So directly from BS4, we jump to BS6, right? So then we have, what we can do is, alter the industry. See, industrially these emissions are taking place. We can bring in some alterations to the industry so that emissions are reduced, right? So, what are the alteration? One is catalytic combustion. Catalytic combustion andre, see, just like your vehicle exhaust. Vehicle exhaust, if you remove the silencer, what will happen? There will be huge pollution and there will be huge noise, right? So all these RX bikes, all these are the example. So catalytic, every bike exhaust, every car exhaust has a catalytic converter. So the exhaust from the internal combustion engine, what do you mean by internal combustion engine? The diesel and petrol engine. So diesel and petrol engine are different, right? So petrol, does the diesel engine use spark plug? Diesel engine doesn't use spark plug, right? It is based on compression, right? So this I studied in my 10th class. Okay. So the catalytic converters can be used in the industries. Andre, as soon as the pollutants come, there will be some catalyst. Catalyst andre, they converted the or they capture the pollutant or they convert the pollutant into less harmful forms. Catalytic converters can be used in industries. Not only that, pollutants can be collected. Then we can collect the particulate matter andre dust to soot ella iruttalla, soot andre budi. So those things can be collected instead of letting it go into the atmosphere. So have you seen this thermal power plants? Their chimneys will be very tall. Why? Why the chimneys of the thermal power plants very tall? Because see, if it is short, the pollutant will get around in the atmosphere. So it will cause hamper the surrounding area, people who are living in the surrounding area. So that is why they make it very tall so that it escapes into the upper atmosphere. That is also actually bad. So rather what we can do is we can collect the particulate matter, right? So how do we collect andre? There are two things. One is arresters and scrubbers. So arresters andre, it arrests the exhaust. Andre, it will remove the pollutants from the exhaust. Then one more thing is scrubber. Scrubber, what they do? There will be some material, they pass the pollutant through the material. So lot of the pollutant will get captured. It is just like this here. You have a sponge, you throw the pour polluted water, below you will get purified water. Just like that. That is a scrubber, right? Okay. So these are the two things we can use. So then this is with respect to industry. Automobile exhaust, how do we control the automobile exhaust? One is use better fuel. Then discard old cars or old diesel engines. So in Delhi you have this policy according to Environmental Pollution Control Act ansute. So graded response theory anta ide one in Delhi, and then one more thing is Environmental Pollution Controlling Authority. So EPCA. So what do they have given an order, or even the National Green Tribunal. There is a tribunal with respect to environment called National Green Tribunal. When was it established? This is very important. National Green Tribunal. It was established in 2010. Environment Vishikene, there is a separate court in India called National Green Tribunal, established in 2010. Is it a statutory body? Yes, it is a statutory body based on NGT Act. NGT Act 2010, very important, right? So they have said that diesel vehicles more than 10-year-old cannot enter the Delhi. So if you have a diesel car, if you take to Delhi, if it is older than 10 years, it will be, you have to pay a fine of some 12,000 rupees, right? Okay. So this is all about the pollutants. Then what are the government initiatives in order to protect or in order to reduce the pollutants? One index is there. So there are multiple indices. Please remember the indices. One index is SUFFER index. SUFFER index measures the pollutant. That is one index. Then you have the lot of programs. So Central Pollution Control Board anta ide. Do we have a State Pollution Control Board? Yes, we do have. So CPCB has been conducting a program called National Air Quality Monitoring Program. National Air Quality Monitoring Program anta ide. So what do they do? So they determine the ambient air quality. What do you mean by ambient air quality? Good air quality, which is good for the respiration of the human beings, right? Then it gives National Ambient Air Quality Standards, NAAQS. Andre ಎಷ್ಟು what should be the standard of air? That is also given by this National Air Quality Monitoring Program, right? Okay, so not only that, it gives in which all cities the air quality is bad. That is also said by this program, right? So according to this National Air Quality Control Program, monitoring program, they have replaced the diesel buses in Delhi from diesel buses to CNG buses. CNG full form? Compressed natural gas. Is it same as LPG? No. So LPG is from petrol. It is as good as a fossil fuel. So what do we use in our houses? LPG or CNG? LPG. So please do know the difference between both of these, right? So this is all about the National Air Quality Control Program. It has given standards for how much nitrous oxide should be there, how much pollution, how much exhaust from nitrous oxide, then how much total suspended particles should be there from industries and vehicles. All these things are given by the National Air Quality Monitoring Program. Next you have National Ambient Air Quality Standards, NAAQS. What is it? It is a standard. How much should be the pollutant in the air? So if there is carbon dioxide, how much should be the carbon dioxide? If there is nitrogen dioxide, nitrous oxide, how much should be that? How much should be the sulfur dioxide? So it tracks 12 pollutants. 12 pollutants na track madi, how much should be there? So what should be the standard of them? Is it below that? Is it above that? All this is monitored or given by the National Air Quality Control Standard. It traces particulate matter 2.5, particulate matter 10, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, lead, all those things. So you should know this PM 2.5 and PM 10. What is PM 2.5? So particulate PM 2.5, it is a soot or dust, very small particle, right? So which is bigger in size, PM 2.5 or PM 10? PM 10 is bigger in size. 10 and 2.5 indicates the size. 2.5 micron and 10 micron size of the pollutants, right? Okay, so that is also monitored by the National Air Quality Standards, National Ambient Air Quality Standards. Next, there is one more index called as National Air Quality Index. This was launched in 2015 after the new government came into power, right? So they categorize the air quality into 6 categories. National Air Quality Index. It is an index which monitors the air quality. 6 category measure madutte. So that is whether, see what are the 6 categories? Good category, satisfactory, moderately polluted, poor, very poor and severe. These are the 6 categories of what? Air quality, right? And they categorized by the National Air Quality Index, right? So then you have National Clean Air Program. This is a recent program launched in 2019, National NCAP, National Clean Air Program. It will be asked in your exam, right? So it is, what is the objective? It is to reduce the air pollution. Whatever they are doing, it is to reduce the air pollution. So they have a target. What is the target? 20 to 30% reduction of PM 2.5. That material, particulate material 2.5 should be reduced by 20 to 30%. That is the target, right? So this, according to this program, they have a collaborative approach. Collaborative approach, and they work with the private industry, they work with the government, they work with the public citizens as well. So in order to control the pollution, right? So this is all about the programs by the government in order to control the pollution. Why should there be these kind of programs? What is the condition of air in India? So Donald Trump made a, who is Donald Trump? Former president of USA, right? So he made a very derogatory statement about India. He called the air in India is filthy. But it is, though it is true to an extent, but not completely true. But to our bad luck, we can say that, so India has ranked one of the worst air quality in the, as per the World Health Organization index. So they have measured top 20 polluted cities ಅಲ್ಲಿ 13 cities are in India. Top 20 polluted cities across the world, 13 are in India, right? So one of the reasons is our excess pollution, and everybody wants 2 to 3 vehicles, right? So nobody wants to use public transport. But government is also on the government is also wrong, because not much public transport is available, right? So public transport, it is actually available in the cities. Where do you find the public transport in district and taluka level? Very less, right? So everybody is dependent on the private vehicle, right? So they say that over half of India's population 130 crore, over half of them, andre more than 65 crores of them are actually susceptible to air pollution. So amele one more fact I'll give you. Delhi is the most polluted capital in the world. New Delhi is the most polluted capital in the world. So according to ranking ali, out of 177 nations, India has ranked 155th rank, very poor rank in the indices of the air pollution. So India has been classified as a bottom performer according to Environmental Performance Index. Environmental Performance Index anta ide. So according to which India is a very bad performer or a bottom performer, right? So what are the reasons andre? See, real estate is one reason, construction activities. So whenever the air quality goes beyond certain level in Delhi, what they do is they are going to ban the construction activity. So ali graded response action plan anta ide, GRAP. So allen ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, see, as per the National Air Quality Index, they are going to keep monitoring the air quality. So if it falls into severe category, immediately what the government does, Delhi government led by Arvind Kejriwal, so immediately they are going to enforce the odd even scheme. What is odd even scheme? You know what is odd even scheme, right? So odd even scheme, they will start, they are going to give holidays to the school, they are going to ban the construction activities, they are going to ban the diesel vehicles from entering into Delhi. All these things they are going to do. That is graded response action plan, right? So okay, so this is all about the air pollution. So what are the measures to cut the air pollution? I have already discussed. One is various measures to cut the air pollution. One is bring in more good fuel, bring in changes in the industry, plant more and more trees, all those things, bring in more awareness, all those things are the measures. So this is all about the air pollution. Next we will talk about the water pollution, pollution of water, right? So 2 hour disguise, we have 70% of the earth is covered by water, and out of which 97% is salt water, only 3% is fresh water. Out of that in that 100%, 97 is in oceans. In the 3%, 2% is in ice caps, which is not usable. Less than 1% is actually available for us to consume, right? So so that is even that water is getting polluted. So this water pollution, it has been increased. This is a concept of human intervention, anthropogenic cause. Andre humans are polluting the water, right? So adding of pollutants to the water is called as water pollution. So what are the sources of the water pollution? Water pollution ellinda agtade? There are 2 types of sources. One is pointed sources, another is non-point source. I have told you what is pointed source, what is non-pointed source, right? So you can determine. So if there is a nala, you can determine that from that nala only the pollution is happening. So if it diffuse source or non-point source, you cannot determine from where the pollution is happening, right? So what are the that is one classification. One more classification of pollution is, so this from where the water comes, wastewater. One is community wastewater. Community wastewater andreno, from the drainage, sewage and drainage, from the cities, from the human settlements, whatever that goes, that is the community wastewater. Public sewage, amele industry inda whatever the exhaust that goes into the drains, that is the community wastewater, that is first source. Then you have industrial waste, that is the second source. Then agricultural sources andre, see, they will use fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, all those things, urea, all these things, when they put water into the agricultural field, all those things, all the pollutants will leach. The water is going to carry the pollutants and go and deposit in the lakes and rivers, right? That is why water gets polluted, right? That is one thing. Then also thermal pollution. 4 type of pollution is thermal pollution. Thermal pollution andre see, these industries, they leave very hot water into the rivers. That is thermal pollution. Then you have underground water pollution. So underground only it is municipal waste to agricultural waste that gets into the underground water and pollutes it. Then marine pollution. Marine pollution andre pollution of the ocean water, right? So because of shipping is one reason. Does shipping causes pollution? Yes, it does cause pollution, right? Shipping might be the reason. Then also oil spills. And there some oil tanks will spill, they are going to sink and oil spill will be there. So that is one reason. And also letting of city drainage, coastal areas, they are going to drain the drainage into the sea. That is also one reason. Apart from that, you have what are the reason? Plastic pollution of the seas. That we are going to discuss all those things, right? So this is about the sources of the water pollution. So oil spill we have to discuss in detail. So it is one of the most dangerous pollutants. See, oil spill. So when the oil spills on the water, does it sink or float? It floats because the density of the oil is lesser than water, right? It is density. So the water is denser, right? So it floats on the water. So when it floats on the water, it will block the surface. So surface alla oxygen exchange agadu with the water. When it blocks the surface, oxygen cannot get into the water and it is very dangerous, right? This is all about the oil spill. Next, we'll discuss one concept called putrescibility. What is it? It is a process. See, this microorganism decomposing the organic matter. Andre water alli, in the water there will be organic matter, dead animals, dead plants. So in putrescibility measures the decomposition of these organic matters by microorganisms using oxygen. That is putrescibility, right? Okay. Then we will talk about the from where all the in the industry. So we will talk about industrial pollution, from where all the industry is polluting the water, right? Okay, where is this? Yeah. So you have mining industry, mining waste. All these mining waste will get into the, so it is a inorganic pollutant. Organic, which contains carbon, right? Which is susceptible to degradation. Inorganic, they don't undergo degradation, right? So all these chemicals, chlorides, metals, all these are the inorganic pollutants. Then iron and steel industry, they will also leave lot of chemicals. You need not know what is it. Then it will give both inorganic as well as organic pollutant, oil, phenol, naphtha. Then chemical plants also give both organic and inorganic pollutants. Then pharmaceutical industry, they are giving the organic pollutants. You have the drugs, antibiotics, carbohydrates, proteins, all those things. Soap and detergent industry, So they are also giving both type of soap. What do they give? The ammonium compounds, alkalines, you need not know all these things. Fatty acids, all those things. Then food processing industry. What is a food processing industry? What is food processing industry? See, you have wheat. From wheat, they will make ready-made rotis. Andre, they will pack the rotis and keep it. What you have to do? You have to get it, heat it and eat it. Warm it up and eat it. That is processing of food from raw material to ready consumable form, right? Food processing industry also gives lot of pollutants. Then paper and pulp. Paper and pulp industry is also going to give lot of pollutants, right? So so we discussed from where all the pollutants is coming. So what are the effects of water pollution? What will be the effect on aquatic ecosystem? Water pollution, what will be its effect on aquatic ecosystem, marine and freshwater, lakes, rivers, oceans. One is the dissolved oxygen will reduce because of the pollutants. Lot of organisms will die, right? Then certain organisms will die, then dissolved oxygen will reduce. Then effects on human health, water pollution what will be the effect? One is we will get lot of diseases. What are the diseases because of water pollution? So what are the organisms that cause? Bacteria, protozoa, worms, all those things. What are the diseases? Waterborne diseases. Jaundice, cholera, typhoid, you name it. All these are jaundice, cholera and typhoid because of these are the waterborne diseases, right? Then cadmium causes iti disease. Then you have hazards on groundwater pollution. What does the water pollution affect on the groundwater? Groundwater alli one is excess nitrate. Excess nitrate is there in the groundwater. It will cause what? Blue baby syndrome. It will affect the babies, right? Baby body will turn blue and it will die, right? So it impairs. Why does it turn blue, Andre? Because of reduced oxygen, right? That is one thing. Then you have fluoride content in drinking water. Fluoride content, if there is fluorosis, it causes fluorosis. Fluoride ittu andre, the bones will become weak, joints will become weak. Fluoride in the water. So this fluoride is actually seen even in Karnataka. There are many places where the water has lot of fluoride, right? Then you have arsenic. Arsenic in the water causes black foot disease. Black foot disease. You should know the chemical and what are the diseases that are being caused. So this arsenic, you can find this is a problem in Ganga Delta. Fluoride is problem in Rajasthan and Gujarat mostly. Arsenic in the Ganga Delta, right? So this is about the effects of pollution. Then we have to discuss one important concept: dissolved oxygen, biological oxygen demand and chemical oxygen demand. Well, you know what is dissolved oxygen? It is 0.001% of oxygen in the water, right? So it is consumed. So dissolved oxygen, it should be above 4 mg per liter, 4 milligram per liter. If it is less than if it is less than 4 mg per liter, then that water is polluted. 4 mg ginta jasti ittu andre per liter ge, then that water is polluted. So that water is not fit for consumption when the dissolved oxygen is less than 4 mg per liter, right? So when there is waste, so based on what does the dissolved oxygen matters? Dissolved oxygen based on photosynthesis, decomposition of organic matter, all these things affect the dissolved oxygen in the water. Photosynthesis go oxygen beku, respiration oxygen is needed, even the decomposition. But when there is excess waste, organic content in the water, dissolved oxygen is reduced, right? So excess waste in the water, how is it measured, Andre? By one term called biological oxygen demand. So what is it? So the amount of dissolved oxygen needed to degrade the organic waste. And if the water has organic waste, dead organisms or dead living organisms, plants and animals. So the amount of dissolved oxygen required to degrade or decompose the organic waste is called as biological oxygen demand, amount of oxygen, right? Then you have one more see this biological oxygen demand, it has one drawback: it measures only biodegradable materials. materials which are degradable by which decompose. So, but there are inorganic pollutants as well. So, how do we measure the inorganic pollutants? Andre, you have chemical oxygen demand. So, chemical oxygen demand, it is a amount of oxygen required to required for the oxidation of total organic matter. Andre, both biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Biodegradable which undergo decomposition, non-biodegradable which doesn't undergo decomposition. So, amount of oxygen required to oxidize both biodegradable and non-biodegradable content in the water or waste in the water is called as chemical oxygen demand. This is the difference. By BOD and COD are very, very important. Biological oxygen demand, biodegradable material only. Chemical oxygen demand, non-biodegradable and biodegradable both, right? So, this is about the BOD and COD. So, how do we control the water pollution? So, one is afforestation, that is one thing, that is a standard prescription. Then sewage water should be recycled, right? Sewage water can be recycled. Then you have hot water na, if we are leaving into the lakes, it should be cooled, right? It should be cooled, that is one thing. Then fertilizers use you should reduce. So all these are the measures in order to reduce the water pollution. So what is the government doing? Andre, one is sewage management. Sewage management it is doing. Then you have here it on this Rishabha, where is Rishabhavati river? It's Kengeri Mori. So this on that Rishabhavati there is a water effluent treatment plant, right? They are going to purify the sewage before it is let into the, it goes and meets somewhere near Mekedatu. This Kaveri, this Kengeri water which is purified near somewhere near Biddi or somewhere, I don't know where is the plant. That water later on after being purified, recycled, it goes near Kanpura and meets the Kaveri river, right? So that is one thing. Then we have online effluent monitoring system, andre, where the effluent is high, that is being online monitored online, right? So apart from that, we have State Pollution Control Board, Central Pollution Control Board, we have Water Act, we have Water Cess Act, then we have Environmental Protection Act, National Lake Conservation Project, National Water Conservation Project, then National Plan for Conservation of Aquatic Ecosystem. All these are the plans to reduce the water pollution in India, right? So this is about the entire water pollution. Next, we will talk about the soil pollution, very apt because now there is a campaign going on from across Asia to Europe called Save Soil Campaign, right? Headed by Isha Foundation, Jaggi Vasudev, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, right? Soil pollution. So what is, see, soil contains both organic and inorganic material. So it is a topmost layer. It is just like this. So you have apple, the topmost skin of the apple. So apple, if you consider as the earth, the topmost skin of the apple is the soil, right? So soil is the most important requirement of the earth, but this soil it is being polluted because of toxicity. So lot of pollution is happening. So what are the toxicity? You have chemicals being added, right? Industrial waste, right? Plastic pollution, right? So all these things we are doing to pollute the water, pollute the soil, solid waste, everything we are adding to the soil, so that it is, but because of which it is getting polluted, right? Okay. So what are the causes? So agriculturally, fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, those are the causes. Then solid waste, deforestation, urban pollution. These are the causes. So where do we find industrial waste? What are the sources of the soil pollution? And industrial waste, waste from the industries. That is the first source. Second is your agricultural source. Then solid waste, radioactive waste. Radioactive waste andre the radioactive materials, those are being discarded, that is one thing. Then you have what are the types of soil pollution? You have agricultural soil pollution, then you have industrial soil pollution and urban soil pollution. These are the three types of soil pollution. Because of which the soil is getting polluted. Is it because of industry? Is it because of agriculture? Based on that, we are categorizing the soil pollution. So next, what are the effects of soil pollution? What is happening because of the soil pollution? Agriculture, what is happening? The fertility of the soil is reducing. Soil erosion is taking place. There is not much fertility. Soil is becoming insterile, or desertification is taking place. So salinity is increasing, nutrients is increasing. Nutrients are decreasing in the soil. Or these are the effects on agriculture. Health, based on health ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು effect ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? See, from the soil the crops are grown which we are consuming. So if the soil is toxic, the toxic food will get into us because of the food chain. So there is biomagnification of toxic elements, and the toxic elements are entering our body, right? That is one thing. Then environment, what is the effect? It affects the biodiversity, it affects the agriculture, all those things. Then urban area, what is the effect of soil pollution? Andre drains are clogged. See, if the soil erosion happens, what happens? The soil will go and get stuck in the drainage. So drains will be, clogging of drains will happen, andre the drainage will be struck, right? So that is one effect. Then because of which the drainage water will flow over the land and inundate the area, and it will cause what? Flooding in the area whenever there is rain. That is one thing. So what are the control measures? One is agriculture, fertilizer should be reduced. Then urban solid waste should be reduced, or it should be used properly. Then we have to adapt 4R strategy. 4R strategy, what is? Reduce, refuse, reuse, recycle. Reduce andre we have to reduce our consumption of material. Refuse andre refuse unnecessary materials. If you have one bike, don't go and buy another bike. Then reduce, refuse, and reuse. So reuse the material. If you have a bag, you keep using it until it is torn. Then recycle the used materials. These are the methods to control the soil pollution. You can also have solid waste management, afforestation, reforestation. All these are the measures to control the soil pollution. So these 4 terms are important: refuse, reuse, recycle, and reduce. So you can use this wherever you want. So you will not be writing mains answer, so it can be used in mains answer, right? So this is all about the soil pollution. Next we will talk about the noise pollution. Noise. So what do you mean by noise pollution? It is an unpleasant noise, annoying noise, right? So where all you find noise pollution? So you will find it in the industries, you will find it in village fairs, right? And also you will find it in airports because of the sound of the aeroplanes. Then even in harbors. So all these places you will find the noise pollution. Even these bikes, where they put the artificial silencer, that is also noise pollution, right? So what is the criteria, standard criteria? So by noise or voice is measured in what index? What is the unit? Decibel. So beyond what unit is the noise is considered as polluted? So it is noise level over 75 decibel. If it is over 75 decibel, so what you are saying is the frequency. What I am saying is a decibel. Decibel over 75 decibel, it is called as noise pollution, right? So this is given by the World Health Organization, right? So in order to monitor the noise pollution, we have ambient noise level monitoring. So we have noise pollution rules 2000. There is a rule by the government called noise pollution rules. So according to these rules, government has given certain criteria. What is the criteria? Yeah. So industrial area, from 6 AM to 10 PM, the noise should be below 75 decibel. Whereas night time it should be 70 decibel. Commercial area, shopping area, it should be 65 decibel. night time 55 decibel. Residential area, daytime 55 decibel, night time 45 decibel. That is why after 10 a.m. you cannot use loudspeakers in 10 to 6 a.m. Right? According to Bangalore City Police, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. you cannot do any function, you cannot use loudspeakers, you cannot shout and disturb others. So because this is the noise, according to what? What rules? Noise pollution rules 2000. So if you are shouting beyond 10 p.m., if police come and asks you, they have the authority. Authority based on what? Based on this noise pollution rules 2000. Then silence zone. What are the silence zones? Hospitals, schools, right? All those areas. So there the daytime it is 50 decibel, nighttime it is 40 decibel is the limit, right? So government has been monitoring the noise by real-time ambient noise monitoring network. Andre, they have 5 noise monitoring terminals. At 5 places they have, in 7 metros they have 5 remote noise monitoring terminals. So they are installing noise monitor terminals in various cities, right? So in 3 phases. In first phase, they are focusing on the major metropolitan cities, Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, all these regions. In phase 2, they are installing 35 more monitoring stations. In phase 3, they are installing in other places as well, right? So what is this is how the government is trying to control the noise pollution via legislation and via executive action, right? So what are the impacts of noise pollution? What does it cause? One, it causes annoyance and irritation, right? It might lead to hearing loss. It might lead to psychological disorders, right? It might lead to increased respiration, heart disease, right? BP, all those things, right? It might lead to sleeplessness, nervous problem, all those things. So how do we control the noise pollution? One is control at the source. Where the noise is originating, you control the noise at that particular place where it is originating. Andre automobiles, industries and loudspeakers, there you will going to control. Then second is control of the transmission path. Andre, see, among the light and noise, which travels faster? Light or sound? Light travels faster because why? How do best example is thundering. You will find the light first, then later some 2 to 3 seconds afterwards you are going to find the sound. So there is one formula to determine the distance of thunder. What is the formula, Andre? See, suppose you see the lightning now, you see it, you see the light now. You start counting the seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds you count. So suppose 9 seconds have elapsed. After 9 seconds you will hear the sound. Before 9 seconds you see the light. After 9 seconds you will you will hear the sound. So you can calculate the distance. Hege andre 9 divided by 3. So 3 is the formula. So 9 seconds divided by 3 is what? 3. So the distance of lightning is 3 kilometers. Suppose you will see the lightning after, you will hear the sound of the lightning after 15 seconds after seeing the light. So divide it by 3. So it is 5. So the distance is 5 kilometers. So from your place, so if you see and hear the lightning together means it has happened where you are. Then you won't be able to calculate because you are dead. Okay. So transmission path. So control in the transmission path. How do we control? Andre, install barriers. Right? If you install trees can actually act as a barrier against sound. Trees. And also see, some theaters and all, they have noise proof ceilings that can be installed. Then you have building design, green building design can be done. All these things can be done. Then you can use protective equipment in industries where there is high noise. You can use protective instruments, and you can do job rotation, all those things. So this is about the noise pollution. Then we will talk about the radioactive pollution. Radioactive pollution. Radioactive pollution ali, see how does a, see radioactive element. Radioactive element is a disintegration of the radioactive element gives out what? It gives out proton, electron. So it gives out alpha particles, beta particles and gamma rays, right? Because of the disintegration of the nuclei. Radioactive nuclei disintegrate adre alpha, beta and gamma rays are going to come out, right? So alpha is proton, beta is electron, gamma is, it is a electromagnetic wave. It is not neutron, it is a electromagnetic wave. So there are two types of radiations. When it comes to electromagnetic waves, there are two types of radiation. One is non-ionizing radiation, another is ionizing radiation. See, this non-ionizing radiation is, it is a long wave radiation. So non-ionizing, they are not very harmful. Andre, they cannot go deep into your body if you are exposed to radioactivity. So this non-ionizing radiation, andre, see what do you mean by ionizing? Andre, if this rays, radioactivity ray hits your body, non-ionizing andre, the cells or the atoms in your body, they won't be ionized into positive and negative charge, right? Ionizing radiation bandre enagutte, if it hits some element, if it hits some metal, so in that metal it is going to cause ionization, andre positive and negative charges will separate. So non-ionizing radiations are not very harmful because they cannot go deep, right? They are long wave radiations. Whereas we have short wave radiations which are ionizing radiations. They have high penetration power. They can pass through your body. They will ionize your tissues and kill the tissues and people will die. So what are the type of radiations particles? I have discussed alpha particles, beta particles and also gamma rays. So alpha rays. So this is very important for you in your science and technology. They are going to ask you alpha rays. How do you block alpha rays? Alpha rays doesn't have much penetration. Even if you have just a piece of paper, the alpha rays get blocked, right? Alpha rays get just a piece of paper is enough, right? Human skin also doesn't allow the alpha rays. Whereas beta particles, they can pass through the skin. They can pass through the skin, but glass or metal can stop it, stop the beta particles. Then you have the gamma particles, it can pass through anything. So they are very highly ionizing radiations. How do you protect the gamma rays? You have to, so in your nuclear power plant, they will build big thick walls. So those thick walls are going to stop the gamma rays, right? So this is all about the types of radiation. Then we will talk about the sources of radiation. One is natural source, another is man-made source. Natural source andrenu, within the earth you have all these radioactive elements, right? Naturally they are there. So naturally they are emitting the radiations. Those are natural source, radium, uranium, thorium, all those things, right? Then you have the man-made sources. Man-made sources yavadu? Nuclear power plants, nuclear weapons, your MRI machines, X-ray machines, all those things, right? Radiation therapy because of for cancer, all these things are the man-made, right? So what are the effects of radioactive pollutant? ಏನು effect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? So first is we will talk about the atom bomb. So that is the first effect. So when there is an explosion of atom bomb. So what elements are used in atom bomb? It is uranium-235 and plutonium-239. So the uranium-235 and plutonium-239. So because of their fission of the uranium-35 and 235 and plutonium-239, the atom bomb gets explode. So when was the first atom bomb explode? Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So, what was the name of that bomb? Fat boy. Fat man. Little boy and fat man. Okay. So, so it was explored. So even today, those places are cursed. So not much plants can be grown there. So that is one thing. So for when it comes to radioactivity, we need to know about certain terms. Half-life of radioactivity, certain little bit of science and technology I am going to discuss within itself. Here itself, later on I won't go in that detail when it comes to science and technology per se. So half-life. Half-life of a radioactive material means what? The amount of time taken by the radioactive material to decompose half of its weight or half of its mass. Andre 100 kg idre, they are going to automatically correcta hogudalva radioactive material by emission, radioactive rays in the. So 100 kg idu, by what time it is going to get to 50 kg of mass? That is half life of the radioactive material, right? So when it comes to radioactivity, we have to discuss two things: non-ionizing radiations, ionizing radiations. We have discussed both of these. So ionizing radiations, what are the ionizing radiations? Andre, they are short wave. Short wave, they causes the major damage. So you have X-rays, cosmic rays, atomic radiations. All these are the radiations, this ionizing radiations, right? So they include two types of effects. One is short range effect, another is long term effect. Short term effect andre immediately there might be some burn, some injury on your body. Long term effect andre it will change your genes, it will make changes to the DNA. That is a long term effect of the radioactivity, right? Okay, so how do we control the radioactivity? And see, when it comes to radioactivity, we cannot control it. We have to work towards prevention. So whenever a nuclear plant explodes, so where was the latest nuclear disaster? When did it happen? Nuclear disaster. It happened in Japan. Which power plant? Fukushima Daiichi, 2012. So because of the action of waves, right? So that is why we have to work towards prevention. And the radio idrali nuclear power plants ali there should be maximum safety, right? Then this radioactive waste iruttalla after the disintegration, though they are also very harmful, they should be properly disposed of, right? And the workers working in the radioactive plant, nuclear power plant, they should be given proper safety material. So all these are the measures, right? So this is all about the nuclear or radioactive pollution. Next we will move towards the e-waste. What do you mean by e-waste? Electronic waste. So all your mobile phones, computers, your TVs, ACs, fridges, after they are discarded, they will become electronic waste, right? Electronic waste. So they are so e-waste actually it is not hazardous. If you process it properly, they are not harmful. But if you process it in a unscientific way, if you are disposing it, then it is going to be harmful, right? So what are the different types of elements in the e-waste? So e-waste only, what are the different type of elements? Yeah, so you have lead in the e-waste. So it is used in computer monitors. So what are the health effects? They have these much health effects. Lead andre, you know, lead always affects the nervous systems and kidneys, right? It is used in PCB, printed circuit board, right? Cadmium, you know, what does it do? It is used in semiconductor chips. It causes ita disease. Mercury, Minamata disease. So it is used in sensors, so every kind of equipment. So mercury thermometers also they are used. Then chromium, they are used in some corrosion protection, all those elements. So they will cause damage to the DNA. It will cause damage to the DNA. Brominated flame retardants. Flame retardants, and it is used in fire retardants, right? It is there. Brominated flame retardants. So it is used in where circuit boards. Circuit boards it should not catch fire anta brominated fire retardants are used. Then barium. Barium is also used in this CRT panels. What is CRT? Cathode ray tube. Are we using cathode ray tube anymore? No. So we are using LED or LCD. Alva. So they are, it will cause damage to heart, liver, all those things. Beryllium, toners, printer toners, they will also cause, they are carcinogenic, they are cancer causing. Then phosphorus, they are inorganic, they are also used in CRT faceplate. They will also cause lot of diseases, right? You need not know the exact disease. See, just know the major pollutants, that is mercury, cadmium, nitrate. What are the diseases associated with these pollutants? You need not know, and lead. You need not know what is beryllium and all. I don't think they will ask. So e-waste in India. How much is the e-waste in India? There is one report called Global E-Waste Monitor. E-waste is monitored by one report called Global E-Waste Monitor. So it says that in India produces approximately 20 lakh tons of e-waste, 20 lakh tons. So which is the city which produces maximum e-waste? So though Bangalore is a IT city, it is actually Mumbai. Mumbai produces the maximum e-waste, right? So e-waste ಏನಕ್ಕೆ problem ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, see, many of the people who are working in these e-waste industries, they don't know how to process it, right? So they will be affected to the disease. So e-waste ಅಲ್ಲಿ most of them are processed in the unorganized sector, inorganized sector, ಅಂದ್ರೆ non-formal sector, right? We are working on daily basis, daily wage. So they don't know how to scientifically discard the e-waste. That is why it is harming them. It is causing a harm to them, right? So that is why we should have proper education and scientific training for the people who are working in the e-waste industry. So this is all about the e-waste. Next we will talk about the solid waste management. So what is solid waste? So solid waste, see, the city garbage, the garbage from the city, the refuse, industrial waste, all these are the solid waste. It is the opposite of liquid waste, right? So household garbage, industry garbage, everything constitutes the solid waste, right? So the first solid waste is your plastic waste, right? Plastic waste. Where do you find plastics? You will find it everywhere. Plastics you find everywhere. What are the effects of plastic waste? Effects. So plastic waste, if they are littered, when they are thrown in the environment, they will cause pollution, right? If the plastic is eaten by cows, it will cause them to die, right? And it will make the place unhygienic. See, the plastic waste itself is not problem. This plastic waste accumulates lot of toxins from the surrounding area, just like bioaccumulation. Then this toxin might enter the food chain, and from food chain it might enter our body. That is the problem, right? So it might cause reproductive problems in humans. It might, so this plastic manufacture, there is a byproduct called dioxin. This dioxin causes harm to the infants, babies, right? Then burning of plastics also give rise to dioxins. So that is why plastic should not be burned, right? Then your food, if it is packed in a plastic bag, it will get contaminated. So plastic, so that is why you should pack it in aluminum foil or some other thing, not in plastic, right? Then this plastic chokes the drainage katkolute because of the plastic. That is one problem. Then it harms the soil microbe activity. Soil microorganisms irutala, that will be affected. So it deteriorates the soil fertility. Soil fertility will also deteriorate because of the plastic. So this is about plastic pollution. Then we will talk about other types of solid waste. So solid waste. What are the sources? Andre, there are three sources of solid waste. Three sources. So the first source is municipal waste. Second source is hazardous waste. Third source is hospital waste. Biomedical waste. Municipal waste, you know what is municipal waste? The garbage. Right? So why municipal waste is increasing? Because lot of population in the urban areas and lack of proper waste collection. That is why municipal waste is increasing. So we have approximately 100 million tons of municipal waste in India, right? 100 million ton, right? So 70% of cities, Indian cities, they do not have proper facility to collect and dispose the solid waste. 70% of Indian cities, right? Okay. So this is about the municipal solid waste. Then hazardous waste. Hazardous waste andre enu? So those which are toxic, where do they released from? They are released from the industries. So industries as well as households. So your batteries, paint, if you throw the paint, right? Medicines, medicine bottles, all those things are hazardous waste. So they will give even your pesticides, chemical dye, all these are hazardous waste. They are going to cause harm to the humans, right? That is one thing. So then you have hospital waste. So hospital waste only you will find all types of medicines, syringes, blood, right? All those things, all infectants, all those things are hospital waste. So they have to be managed properly. So hospital waste managed, see, you take any type of pollutant, you take plastic, you take solid waste, you take e-waste, for all that we have rules. So rules under Environmental Protection Act. When was this Environmental Protection Act passed? I will discuss it. It was passed in 1986. So we have rules. We have plastic waste management rules, 2016. So all the rules were made in 2016. Andre new rules. You take plastic waste management rules, you take solid waste management rules, e-waste management rule. All the rules were made in or remade in 2016. Right? You can use this fact. Right? Okay. So hospital waste. So hospital waste, biomedical waste management rules anta madidare 2016. So it became important during COVID times because COVID disinfectant, COVID bodies, those who touch, so that has to be disposed of properly. So they have color coded, andre red color, yellow color, some other colors they have differentiated according to which the waste is discarded, right? Color coding of the waste. So with respect to this, we have the first act came in 1988, biomedical waste management rule, but the recent rule is in 2019 ansutte. So even the 2016 rule is not the recent one, it is the 2018 rule. So solid waste, how do we discard the solid waste? One is open dump. Andre, in an open place, you are going to dump the solid waste. That is the most natural form. So, but enagutte alli it will lead to this leaching and the soil waste, there will be lot of chemicals. When rain happens, all this waste will get into the underground water and the soil will get contaminated. So open dumping is not suggested. Open dumping alli, so it will breed mosquitoes, it will breed rats, rodents, right? So it will cause harm to the surrounding areas. So next is landfill. Landfill andre, in landfill what they do, they are going to dig a pit, big pit they are going to dig and put the waste there, solid waste. Amel one layer mannu muchtare, later on one layer of soil, later on they will put more waste, put one more layer of soil, like that they are go on dumping the solid waste. So that is the second method, that is the landfill method of dumping the soil. But here also it is problematic, because if water gets in, the chemicals are going to get leached and the surrounding area will get polluted. Then you have sanitary landfill, because to see this landfill the problem na solve madadike, leaching problem na to solve it, they have one more category called sanitary landfill. What do they do in sanitary landfill? See, in sanitary landfill, what they do, they are going to dig a pit, but the walls of the pit will be made impermeable. Impermeable andre the water won't cross that barrier. So they might be put cement or something and then dump the waste, right? But idhar problem hai, it is very costly. For a big pit, you have to make it impermeable, so water should not seep in. So it is very costly to build a sanitary landfill. Then you have incineration plants. Incineration plants andre, see, these are the plants where the solid wastes are burnt, right? They are going to be burnt into ash, right? Incineration plants, right? So illi there will be large furnaces. So furnace ali they are going to dump the solid waste and burn it, but it will lead to lot of pollution, lot of ash collection. But biomedical waste idiyala, which is very dangerous, biomedical waste from the hospitals, that can be incinerated because it is very dangerous. Other types of waste you can find some other methods. Then you have one more method called pyrolysis. So what is pyrolysis? What is the meaning of pyrolysis? Pyro andre enappa adinu heli. Pyro means fire. Pyrolysis means burning. But the difference is incineration is also burning. In pyrolysis, you will burn without oxygen or reduce oxygen, right? Pyrolysis there will be less oxygen or absence of oxygen. So in pyrolysis, if you burn this organic waste, andre coconut shell or your corn, cashew shell, all this vegetable waste iruttala, if you burn that without oxygen, they are going to get converted into charcoal. Coconut shell idiyalappa, kai idadmele, if you burn it, it will get converted to charcoal alva. So pyrolysis does that in the absence of oxygen. Then you have one more type of discarding called composting. What is composting? Composting ali, see, they use microorganisms. So this term is this fact is actually there since many years, that there are microorganisms or there are insects which are going to eat the plastic and convert it into organic form. But that has not been implemented till now. So I have been reading this since 10 years. So this composting, what they do in composting, they use fungi and bacteria and decompose the waste. So you put a waste in a particular place and add some fungi and bacteria to that waste. That fungi and bacteria will convert the waste into manure or usable form, right? So they are going to convert it into manure, right? So this is actually this composting, the ಏನು problem andre, it is only for biodegradable waste. Plastic nella e-waste and all cannot be converted, biodegraded. Composting, that is the drawback. Then you have one more concept called vermiculture. Vermiculture, what they do, they are going to add, vermiculture means earthworm. They are going to add earthworm to the waste. Earthworm are going to convert the waste into some manure or usable form. So next you have the last concept under the solid waste management is waste minimization circles. So waste minimization circles andre, see, some industries some industries, they come together and form a waste minimization circle. Andre group of industries, small and medium industries, they form an association and try to reduce the waste. That is the waste minimization circle. It is being supported by World Bank and Environment Ministry to for the industries to form waste minimization circle. What do? They provide education to the citizens in order to reduce the waste, and also they are going to take the help of non-government organizations, civil society, in order to reduce the waste. Okay, this is about the waste minimization circles and the solid waste management. Then we will talk about thermal pollution. We'll talk about thermal pollution. So thermal pollution, what do you mean by thermal pollution? Increasing the temperature of the water is the thermal pollution. The temperature of the water increases beyond a certain level, that is a thermal pollution, right? So how does it happen? One is you put lot of hot water in a lake or river. So this industry releases a lot of hot water into lake, that will lead to thermal pollution. Or there will be some forests or some trees which are going to reduce the temperature of the water. What you do? You remove the trees. That is going to, don't go and remove the trees. That is also going to reduce the temperature. Increase the temperature. If you remove the trees which are going to reduce the temperature, automatically the temperature will increase. So from where does thermal pollution happens? One is, it is from power plants, where coal burning power plants. From that they are going to release the hot water into the water bodies. Then industries, and this because of deforestation, cutting down of forest, thermal pollution is happening. So what are the effects? Effects of warm water. Warm water in the enagutte. So one is, see, the oxygen, I have told you in earlier class, when warm water is there, it is going to reduce the dissolved oxygen. When dissolved oxygen reduce, what happens? The animals will die, right? That is one thing. And so warm water add adaga enagutte, the productivity of the ecosystem increases, and the reproduction will increase. When reproduction increases, algal bloom I have shown you red tide. So the number of algae that are produced, that are going to increase, right? So so that is the effect of warm water. Warm water will cause that, right? So then there is decomposition will decrease. So in the water there will be lot of organic waste. So they have to be decomposed. In order to become in order to recycle. But this organic waste, dead animals and plants, their decomposition will reduce. Why they reduce? Because warm water reduces the dissolved oxygen. When there is no dissolved oxygen, see, this decomposition requires dissolved oxygen. If there is no dissolved oxygen, decomposition will not take place, right? So that is the concept. Then it increases the metabolic rate. See, when warm water, if you add, these animals will become more hungry. They will eat lot of food and they will reproduce more, and it leads to eutrophication. You know, right? Eutrophication, adding of excess nutrients leads to eutrophication. That will also happen because of the increased nutrients, right? Also warm water, one more effect is, some animals, they need a certain temperature. So you add warm water, all those animals will go to some other area, right? So that is one thing. Then biodiversity in the place can be decreased. That place can be bereft of biodiversity. Then it can cause harm in the cell structure. So you have a cell, let's say this is a cell of an animal. So you have cell wall, right? Temperature increase, there will be osmosis. Osmosis andre the pressure outside the cell and inside the cells is managed, right? And there will be toxins within the cell will be going out by the process of osmosis. So osmosis andre no, from high pressure to low pressure, right? The water will move. or is it the reverse? What is osmosis? Huh? High pressure to low pressure. So you have this RO, reverse osmosis, RO water kuditiralla. So in RO water, you have two levels, right? Here in one level you have polluted water, right? High, and here you have less polluted water. So generally illi from reverse, why is it called reverse osmosis andre, see illi high pressure irutte because of polluted water, right? Illi low pressure irutte, generally it won't move from high pressure to low pressure, but in reverse osmosis we are going to apply pressure so that reverse osmosis takes place. Andre the waste will be left here and the pure water will cross the RO membrane. Similarly in the cells also osmosis will take place. So warm water adaga this osmosis process will break down and animals are going to die, right? So this is all about the effect of the thermal pollution. So warm water pollution, even cold water will also cause pollution. So cold water will also affect, see, these animals, these fish and plants in the aquatic ecosystem, they require a certain range of temperature. If the temperature range is breached, whether it is cold water or it is warm water, they are going to die. Right? So next we will talk about control measures. How do we control it? See, this warm water is in the industrial plants, they have to be cooled before they are let into the water bodies. They have to be there should be proper cooling towers. Cooling towers irbeku. From that cooling towers we are going to leave the water, right? There should be proper cooling towers. Then we can use this idea of cogeneration. Cogeneration is a very interesting concept. What is cogeneration? See, cogeneration is actually very interesting. See, you have, let's say, you have a coal power plant, right? You are burning coal. Now let's not take coal. The best example for this is, okay, you have a nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plant is, yeah. So in that nuclear power plant, there is fission happening. So how does the fission happen? Fission happen, there will be heat. So there will be one this heavy water, coolant irutte. Coolant will be there. That coolant, it is heavy water or some you know, right? Coolant, heavy water, you have studied in it your 9th, 10th class, right? There will be fissile material. So this is a nuclear block. It will give the heat. There will be a coolant. So though this is not the exact diagram, please adjust. So the coolant comes and picks up the heat, and heat will go from here, and there will be a turbine here. The turbine will run. After this turbine runs, this hot steam will be sent to a cooling tower. So there the cooling will happen, and again the same water will pass through to gather more heat. But what we can do is, if turbine turn admele, that steam will be still hot alla. That steam can be used for heating facility. Producing thermal energy, right? So you have in Nordic countries, what are the Nordic countries? Where are they? Scandinavian countries, Nordic countries. Norway, Finland, Sweden, all these countries, right? What they do, there they have this geothermal energy, and from within the earth, the heat will come, right? Steam will come. That steam, they are going to run the turbine, the hot, high pressure steam barute from, because why andre, there will be water in the hydrosphere. That water will enter the magma chamber. Magma hogbuttu adenu it will vaporize, and from high pressure it is going to come to the surface of the earth. So that steam will be utilized to turn turbine. Turbine will run and electricity will be produced. but that steam is still hot. So ಆ steam ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, they see these Nordic countries are very cold countries. So that steam will be sent in pipes to every homes. Every home they are going to send the steam. Why every home they are sending the steam? Just like we are using ACs in Nordic countries, they use heaters. So when they send the hot steam to the houses of people, the houses will become warm. They need not use heaters. So this is cogeneration. Andre, the same energy can be used for two or more purposes. That is cogeneration. So thermal power plant can be used for that. Then the third preventive measure is avoid deforestation so that thermal pollution does not increase. So this is all about thermal pollution. So here I have noted on one fact. If you want, you can take it down. So Wildlife Week, India, when do we celebrate the Wildlife Week in India? Wildlife Week. It is the first week of October. It is the first week of October. So you remember Gandhiji's birthday. So Gandhiji loved lot of animals. So that week they are celebrating. So it is not related to Gandhiji, but I am giving the link so that you remember. Right? So Wildlife Week, it is first week of October. It was started since 1957. So this is all about the thermal pollution. Then we will talk the most important pollution of our times, that is plastic pollution. Right? So with plastic pollution in marine areas. So earlier what we spoke, that is plastic pollution on the land. But now we are speaking about plastic pollution in the marine area. See, the plastic pollution is so bad. I'll show you the images. Pacific garbage patch. There is a big garbage patch in the Pacific Ocean. So plastics are getting 70% of the plastic that are produced on the land. They are getting into oceans. That is why plastic pollution we have to study in detail in the oceans. So let the internet load. I am going to show you. Okay. So Pacific garbage patch. See, this is the Pacific garbage patch. Can you see in the ocean the garbage? So you find a big patch of garbage in the Pacific Ocean. See how much plastic is there in the ocean. This is the failure of humans. Look at here. Great Pacific garbage patch. So not only this, I'll show you one more sad image. See, these are albatross birds. So there is one island called Midway Island. So in Midway Island in the Pacific Ocean. So what they do, Midway Island, I'll show you where it is. See, this is Midway Island in the Pacific Ocean. Here what happened? So these albatross are there, no? These birds, see, they are dead after consuming the plastic. Once they are dead, inside the body, they have found lot of plastic. This is the grievous situation. So this is the body of that albatross bird. Within that, see how many plastic is accumulated. Albatross birds are dying because of the plastic pollution, right? So this plastic is it is impacting the animals and birds. Both of them are impacted in the aquatic ecosystem, right? So where do the plastic material getting added to the ocean. One is from the land, 70% of the plastics are getting added, right? Then from fishing activities, fishing nets are they throw the fishing net in the ocean and come back if the fishing net is spoiled. That is the second thing. Then the third thing is microplastic and the microplastic beads. So this can be seen in the this makeup material that is facial creams, perfumes, not in perfumes, facial, they have micro beads, small plastic beads. So these microplastics, they will go and get accumulated in the oceans. That is also dangerous, microplastic debris. So these microplastics, micro beads are the most important ones. They are less than 20 micron in size, very small things. So these microplastics are being ingested by the animals. So generally what happens, this will pass through the body of the animal without harming them. But what happens, these micro beads, it acts as it captures the toxins in the surrounding area. Andre, if a microplastic is here, let's say there are some toxins, DDT, all those things, that will go and get accumulated on this plastic. And when the animal eats this plastic, these toxins will get into the body of the animal, right? So that is the effect. So we have, that is a problem. So they have documented, they have researched that more than 250 species of birds and animals in the oceans are affected because of plastic, right? Plastic in the. So this is about the effect of plastic in the marine environment. So what is the effect of plastic in the land environment? Land mele en effect agutte, you know, the best example is your drainage. Yeah, the plastic will get stuck there. So your parents will know how difficult if the drainage gets stuck. Even if a small pipe gets stuck in your home, the water won't go. It's a nightmare, right? So that is one thing. Then cows are dying because of eating plastic. So these cows, they should eat grass. Why are they eating plastic? So plastic will be mixed with the grass. So they won't know, Papa, these cows are also dying, right? So all these things are the effect of plastic pollution. So how do we overcome these various type of pollution? Andre, we have one method called bioremediation. What is bioremediation? It is similar to earlier method what I told. Use of microorganisms, that is bacteria and fungi, not virus. Don't write virus. So use of microorganisms to degrade the contaminants into less harmful form, right? So this microorganisms, this can be so how does this microorganisms degrade? Andre, by redox reactions. What is redox reaction? It will be asked in your exam. Science and very simple. Oxidation reduction reaction. So microorganisms, either if there is a reduced material, hydrogen material, it is going to oxidize it. If there is a oxidized material, it is going to reduce it. That is how it is going to change the material, right? So this bioremediation can be carried out in two ways. One is in situ bioremediation, one is ex situ. What is in situ? In situ means if there is waste here only you will go and put the bacteria and fungi so that the waste get degraded. That is in situ, at the place of waste. You are adding the microorganisms. So in situ, idralli you have three types. One is bioventing. What is bioventing? So these, whatever the terms I will tell you, now I am going to tell you some 6 types, 6 or 10 types. All these 10 types are very, very important from all competitive exam perspective. They are going to directly ask what is this. So bioventing is the first thing. What is bioventing? Bioventing andre, if there is waste in a place, there is a waste, you add air and nutrition. You will add air, you will add nutrition. So when you put air alli enagutte, there will be oxygen, and nutrition is the food for the bacteria. So they are going to decompose the waste. That is bioventing, right? Bioventing. So when does this bioventing used andre? If the waste is below the surface of earth. So yellow surface below idre, then you will put air to that place and also add nutrition so that that will biodegrade. That is first thing. Then you have biosparging. Biosparging andre, it is also injection of air. You inject air, but the difference is you inject the air at high pressure. High pressure injection of air, right? So so where do they inject andre? To groundwater. So groundwater, if you inject the air at high pressure, the oxygen concentration will increase and biodegradation will take place. So by groundwater, if there is some bacteria or some waste, some waste will be there, that will be degraded. That is biosparging. Then bioaugmentation. Bioaugmentation andre, let's say next to your house there is a big bio dump. So you carry some microorganisms in a bottle and throw the microorganisms, bacteria and fungi. That is bioaugmenting. The bacteria is somewhere else. You are going to catch the bacteria, put it in the area where you need decomposition. That is bioaugmenting, right? So this is the in situ, at the place where dirt or waste is there. Then you have ex situ bioremediation. Ex situ andre, you are going to take the waste to some other place and carry out the remediation. Adralli the first type is land farming. Land farming andre no. So you are going to just do farming andre, using the using tractor, tiller or something. You are going to till the land and put the waste there, and you keep on tilling the land even with the waste. So the waste will get mixed with the soil and it will degrade. That is land farming. Land farming is one type of ex situ bioremediation. Then you have biopiles. Biopiles andre no. So it is also a form of land farming. Land farming ಮಾಡೋದು, but ಏನಂದ್ರೆ you are going to put some genetically engineered bacteria, some special bacteria you are going to add to the land and carry out the farming. Biotilling you are going to carry out later on, right? So these biopiles are used for treating hydrocarbon waste, petroleum and hydrocarbon waste. It is going to be used. Then you have bioreactors. Bioreactors, when is it used? So bioreactors under, there will be proper reactor. Some machine will be there. You are going to put the waste in that and it will convert it into or degrade the waste. That is bioreactors. Then you have the fourth type of ex situ waste conversion. That is composting. Composting is adding the I have already told. Composting is adding the same the bacteria and fungi in order to convert the waste into some other useful form, right? So here I will give you one example. So the oil waste iruttalla, oil spillage on the oceans. So in order to convert that oil spillage, there is one bacteria, one bacteria called oil zapper. So this oil zapper is going to convert the oil spill, eat the oil in the, so other ship, if it is sunk and oil is floating, you just throw this oil zapper and they are going to clean all the oil in the area. Oil zapper, please remember the name, right? Then you have, it is given by TERI organization, TERI. So the Energy and Research Institute. Then you have genetic engineering approaches to convert the waste. What are the genetic engineering approaches? So first is phytoremediation. Phytoremediation andre, if there is a waste in some place, instead of microorganisms, you use the plants. Plants are used to carry out the remediation. That is phytoremediation. What are the types? One is phytoattraction or phytoaccumulation, not a fight, but PHYTO. phyto accumulation or phyto attraction. So if there is a waste in a place, this plant is going to extract the waste by its roots, extract the roots and save it within the body. That is phyto attraction or phyto accumulation. Then you have phyto transformation or phyto degradation. So what does it do? So the organic waste the plant is going to take and convert it into some other usable form. That is phyto transformation or phyto degradation. It is going to degrade the organic waste. That is the second form. Then you have phyto stabilization. What is phyto stabilization? So some organic wastes are not stable. They are going to cause reaction with the surrounding environment. What this plant do? It is going to take up the organic material and save it within the body or attach it to the tissues. So that organism, that waste becomes stable. So that is phyto stability, right? So andre contaminated soil it is going to take it into the body or get it attached to the soil or root. A waste the waste get attached to the root or within the body. That is phyto stability. Then you have phyto degradation or rhizodegradation. So this is because of phyto degradation or rhizodegradation andre in the plants and bacteria or fungi. Plants or bacteria or fungi, they are going to release some enzymes. These enzymes are going to convert the waste into usable form. That is the phyto degradation or rhizodegradation. Whenever phyto degradation or phyto rhizodegradation, whenever the term rhizodegradation bandre, it is the enzymes released by the plants and animals, plants or microorganisms, which is going to convert. Then you have phyto filtration. So phyto filtration andre in the area if there is a contaminant, this enzyme, this fungi or the plants are going to take up the contaminant. It is going to take the contaminant and save it in the body, right? Plant body. That is phyto filtration. Andre it will filter the waste. The plant will filter the waste in that area. That is rhizofiltration. So these are the things. Then you have mycoremediation. Mycoremediation. So when fungi is used to convert the waste, that is called as mycoremediation. Only when fungi is used. Then you have mycofiltration. Filtration andre when fungi is used to filter the waste. So myco anta bandre it is fungi. Myco is fungi. So when fungi is used to filter the waste, it is mycofiltration. Then these are the types of the remediation, right? Bioremediation, right? So what are the advantages? So it will reduce the toxics into less toxic form. Then it will reduce the diseases. It is going to lessen the waste. All these things, they are environment friendly. They are less expensive. All these are the advantages, right? Disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? So only biodegradable waste can be degraded. No other waste can be degraded. That is one thing. Then it takes long time. It takes long time for the degradation to happen. So this is all about the bioremediation. Then we will talk about the next topic or the last topic of the day, acid rain. So acid rain. What is acid rain? So decrease in the level of pH in the rainwater. Below what pH is acid rain? 7 is a neutral. Below 5.6 is acid rain. Below 5.6, right? So when sulfur oxide and nitrogen oxide, they get into the moisture and get precipitate as rain, then it is acid rain. So in acid rain you have two types. One is wet deposition, another is dry deposition. Wet deposition and dry deposition. What do you mean by wet deposition? See, nitrous oxide and sulfur oxide, they mix with the mix with the moisture and fall as rain. And fall as rain, fall as snow, fall down as fog or mist. Then it is wet deposition. The acid rain is coming in wet form, liquid form, right? So it affects a variety of plants and animals. Plants it is going to affect animals. Skin will skin nalli blisters agutte, and plants their leaves will be spoiled. All those things are the effect of acid rain, right? So in that acid rain you have two types. One is rain out and wash out. What is rain out? In rain out ali, see, in rain out ali, the waste material, this nitrous oxide and sulfur oxide mixes with the rain and falls together. That is rain out. Second is wash out. Wash out andre, let's say, suppose there is a cloud here. There is a proper cloud here. Below that cloud, the waste materials will be there. Or this nitrous oxide, sulfur oxide will be there below the cloud. When this cloud condenses or precipitates as rain, it will take the nitrous oxide and sulfur oxide along with it and comes to the ground. That is wash out. Rain out and wash out are the two terms, right? So this is about the wet deposition. Then you have dry deposition. Dry deposition andre no. So when the acid chemicals, that is nitrous oxide and sulfur oxide, they get mixed with the smoke. They get mixed with the smoke and they get stick to the buildings or trees or ground. Then that is a dry deposition, when there is no involvement of water here, right? So when these so this dry depositionally, so this nitrous oxide and sulfur oxide, what they do, they will go and stick to the, they go and mix with the smoke and stick to the buildings, land as well as the trees and make them acidic. That is dry deposition, right? So so you know the pH scale, right? From 0 to 14. 7 is neutral, 0 is acidic, 14 is alkaline, right? Okay. So what are the sources of acid rain? First is natural sources. Natural sources, where do you find the natural sources? Volcanic eruption. Sulfur comes from the volcanic eruption and also from the decomposition of organic matter. Organic matter, from there also you are going to find the sulfur. Then you have nitrogen. Nitrogen, where do they come from? They also come from volcanic eruption and lightning, right? Then man-made sources. Man-made sources, burning of coal. Burning of coal is one thing. Then vehicle exhaust, industry exhaust. All these areas you are going to find the emission of sulfur, nitrogen, and one more thing, what? The formic acid. Formic acid. All these three things will form the acid rain. Formic acid, sulfur, nitrogen, even chlorine, phosphoric acid, all those things will form an acid rain and fall on the earth. So what are the characteristics of acid rain? They are found in the industrialized regions. Only in industrialized regions you are going to find it. Then you will find it more in the mountainous region. Mountain region. In the mountain region, you will find more acid rain. So wherever acid rain is there will be thin soil. Soil won't be thick. There will be very thin soil. These are the characteristics of the acid rain, right? So in the world where you will find acid rain, andre in the Nordic countries you will find. Scandinavian countries. Then US you will find. So across mostly all the countries, Canada. So in India, you first notice of acid rain was found in 1974. 1974 in Bombay it was noticed, right? So what are the, how do we indicate the acid rain? So acid rain agide ante hengo gottagutte? One is the man-made indicators. Man-made indicators, they try the pH. They measure the pH and indicate whether the rain is acidic or not. The second one is lichens. Lichens are natural organisms. They are going to indicate whether rain is acidic or not. So we are going to end the class here. Tomorrow we'll continue with acid rain and discuss some more concepts. So if you have any doubts, please put it in the comment section. You can reach us through our Telegram channel, VHS Education Forum, for any feedback, any suggestions. Please take good care of your health and also make good use of the classes. Please, we will meet tomorrow. Take care. Jai Hind. Namaste.